All right, guys. Hopefully you have one of these two books, okay? This is going to be your keys to health. This is the older edition, so this is the one a lot of you guys have. This is the newer edition. This is the one that just came out. Either way, they're gonna have the same information in them, okay? So here's the thing, guys. There's two plans in here. Okay, so there's two plans. One is the core plan, and one is the advanced plan. So most of you guys, I've got you going on the advanced plan, okay? And the reason for that is because you have health conditions, you've got a lot of inflammation in your body. That inflammation could be causing pain, it could be causing the diabetes, the thyroid dysfunction, your sleeping problems, the energy problems, whatever you're experiencing. Normally inflammation's behind it, normally a bad diet, normally a sedentary lifestyle, a sick and diseased spine. You got all these different things that are creating health problems in your life. So right now, what I'm gonna go through is this nutritional aspect of it, and realize that most of you guys are gonna be on that advanced plan. So when you open your book up, look for the advanced plan, and that's where I want you to start. Obviously, most of you I've had this conversation with if you're gonna be on the advanced plan or the core plan. The core plan is going to be more for it. So I do more of the core plan, okay? So more of an active individual, someone that doesn't need to lose weight, someone that's not fighting a disease, doesn't have chronic pain, and really more into their wellness care. So somebody that comes into our clinic and they got really no issues whatsoever, they just want wellness care, they're going to be on the core plan as far as nutritionally wise. With their adjustments, I'll be adjusting them less. But somebody that's coming in with chronic problems, I'm adjusting them more because I need to turn this intelligence on in the body. I need to make sure that the brain has all the communication down the spine and out those nerves so it can feed all your endocrine system, so it can feed your hormones. That means that your thyroid will work correctly, your adrenals can work correctly, your reproductive organs, they can work correctly. So testosterone and growth hormone, all this stuff can be processed correctly because this innate intelligence inside of you is healing. This is why we start with the adjustments before we go anywhere else, okay? So we start with the adjustments and then we'll start to add in nutrition. So this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? So I'm gonna break this down for you. Before I go into the three things that you really gotta change, let's talk about the low-hanging fruit, okay? The low-hanging fruit is the stuff I don't need to do a video on to tell you shouldn't be eating McDonald's, right? You shouldn't eat fast food. That soda is not good for you. If I'm popping popcorn in a microwave all the time, if I'm eating, tons of packaged foods and trans fats and French fries and just all the easy stuff that most of America does. When you think about it, 70% of Americans are overweight or obese. So it's a huge problem. We have 1 out of 5 deaths is now related to an obesity-related condition. So you have to take your health seriously. You have to realize that you're in control of it. Nobody can make you eat anything good or bad. As much good food as I want to have you eating, I can't be there with you. I can't do it for you. So you've got to make sure that you're doing these things for yourself. So the first thing you really got to do is make the decision that I'm ready to be healthy. I'm ready to change my foods. And as you do that, your life is radically going to change, okay? So the low-hanging fruit. So stop, no sodas, no candy bars, no candy, no snow cones, all the stuff that's just loaded with sugar, loaded with trans fats, different things like that. Stay away from that, okay? And we're not gonna spend any more time there, okay? So the next thing, we gotta go, here's the first thing that I want you to change is gonna be sugar. Okay, so no matter if you're on the core plan, the advanced plan, no matter where you are with your health, you've got to get rid of sugar. Sugar gives you no benefit whatsoever in your health. It's not benefiting you any way, shape, or form. It's an anti-nutrient. It's gonna cause obesity, it's gonna cause cancer, it's gonna cause hormonal disruption, endocrine disruption, it causes headaches, it causes inflammation. You're gonna spend more money on your health, you're gonna be more miserable, it's gonna be really hard to lose weight, really hard to have energy. Sugar is the worst thing you could possibly have, okay? If you're a cancer patient, the very first thing you have to do is remove sugar. If you're a diabetes patient, the very first thing you have to do is remove sugar. Okay, so we've got to remove this. And where's the number one primary source sugars coming from? Soda. Okay, soda is the number one dietary sugar component. That's where most of it comes from. And like I said, it's going to promote diabetes and inflammation and all these other diseases. Someone diagnosed with diabetes, by the way, they're going to spend on average about $14,000 more on their health each year than someone that doesn't have diabetes. And 1 out of 3 people is diabetic or pre-diabetic. And we have to realize that especially with type 2 diabetes, it is 100% reversible. With lifestyle change, with changing your diet, changing your foods, adjusting the spine, allowing the nervous system to heal properly, and then you move, you're not just sedentary. Diabetes is 100% reversible, type 2, especially if you're doing the right things, but that means you're making the right changes. So 1 teaspoon, I'm gonna just give you a few stats here. 1 teaspoon of sugar is gonna suppress the immune system for 5 hours. And that's 1 teaspoon of sugar. Okay, so nobody wants their immune system suppressed for 5 hours. That's never a good thing, okay? And then we run into these autoimmune conditions. What's an autoimmune condition? That means that your immune system is confused, it's suppressed, it's not working correctly. It doesn't know good cells versus bad cells. And so people struggle with all of these different neuropathy things and headaches and all the different things that come along with an autoimmune disease. Once again, you don't want to suppress your immune system. If I'm gonna fight cancer cells, if I'm gonna fight a virus or bacteria, what do I have to do? I gotta have an immune system that's gonna fight these things off for me. The average American drinks 55 gallons of soda per year. It's too much, right? So like I said, number 1 source of sugar is soda. One study showed that the sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So if you really do feel addicted to it, I feel you. Like I understand that you may feel addicted to it, but please understand that's not what God intended for you to do, is be addicted to sugar, okay? You're going to be able to get off of sugar. It may be uncomfortable. The first few weeks may be hard. And really changing your foods is not gonna be easy. Like, this is going to be hard, okay? Because there's a lot of things that have to change. Your lifestyle changes. You're not just swinging through fast food because you failed to plan. Fail to plan to fail, okay? And that means that you've got to plan your meals out. You've got to know on Sunday where you're eating these meals. You've got to know in the morning when you wake up, that I've got my breakfast, my snacks, my lunch, I've got dinner. I know where I'm going to get these foods, because if I don't, especially if you're somebody that's working on the road, guess what? You're on the road, you're trying to get food, you're going to stop by somewhere fast food. You're going to get something that's typically not a good option, okay? So we got to make sure that as we get rid of these sugars and we prepare, okay, like I was saying, preparing, but as you get rid of the sugars, what are some safe alternatives, okay? So like your raw honey, and all of this, you want to use in moderation. It has to be used in moderation. This is huge because so many people want to just start pouring honey on everything and they want to use stevia in everything. I mean, it still is something that you're going to use in moderation. So raw honey, stevia, there's something from the tuberous root of a yucca plant, so it's called yucca syrup. That's something newer that you could use. Monk fruit extract, xylitol, some of the other sugar alcohols, I think those are okay too. What else do you got? You got coconut sugar, that's a decent one. Really at home for us, what we use is we'll use the raw honey and we'll use a little bit of stevia. And then like even in protein powders, they've got a lot of stevia in those. So I'll just use those to sweeten other things up with as well. So, okay, so we know, here's the thing, is we're gonna decrease our sugar. Now we gotta bring something else up, because most of you guys, you use glucose as your primary fuel source. So you're using sugar as your fuel source. So now I gotta say, okay, if I'm not gonna be a sugar burner, what am I gonna be? I gotta be a fat burner. Okay, so now I'm gonna be a fat burner, which is going to use ketone bodies and other things to actually burn as my fuel. There's a transition period. So here's the thing. If you're overweight and you're trying to lose weight, realize that you don't want to just load up on heavy fats like immediately, because there is this transition, and odds are you really haven't taken every other thing out of your diet that you need to take out, and you're going to confuse your body and you're not going to lose the weight as quickly as you want. So during this transition, rapidly take out sugar and slowly start to increase these fats in your body, okay? So I'm going to increase the good fats. Okay, so let's go through the good fats first here. So good fats would be like all your coconut products. So coconut flakes, coconut oil, coconut flour we use, just everything coconut is fantastic. That's a really good fat. Avocados. So avocado oil, avocados, if you can have an avocado, one a day, that's a superfood. I love avocados. So a lot of times just for lunch, I'll open one up, I'll just peel it out of that. I put half of one in smoothies all the time. So olive oil, if you guys have seen some of my smoothie videos, I always import in olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. So I'm getting these oils inside of my smoothies because I want to make sure that a lot of my diet is fat. Okay, so if I was to break it down into like a pie chart, you would have about 65% or so of your diet is gonna be fat. And you guys are like, oh my gosh, 65% of my diet is fat. I wanna lose weight. Is this guy crazy? No, you're gonna lose weight, okay? I promise you, you're gonna lose weight the more fat you take in, but you gotta have that transition period between being that fat burner and instead of being that glucose sugar burner, okay? So we're gonna increase the fats. And realize fat doesn't make you fat, okay? And fat is, here's another problem, is that fat is gonna raise my cholesterol, right? So if I have more fat, what's that gonna do? It's gonna raise my cholesterol, I'm gonna have a higher rate of heart attack, higher rate of heart disease, and all these things. Not true, not true. Okay, so a couple studies, UCLA, they did a study, and what they found was 75% of the people that were hospitalized for heart attacks, they had normal cholesterol levels. 75% of people hospitalized with heart attacks had normal cholesterol levels. So, eating fat does not raise your cholesterol. Cholesterol is not, that's not the problem here. The other thing is low cholesterol is associated with higher death rates from heart disease. So having low cholesterol could be the problem because everybody says, oh, if I have too many fats, my cholesterol is gonna go. Don't worry about it. Just the problem though here's the problem. Your cholesterol will go up if you're still eating a lot of sugar. Because you're gonna create insulin resistance. You have all this crazy sugar floating around your body, not knowing where to go, and your liver says, I can do something with this, and here's what it's gonna do with it. It's gonna convert it now through these pathways in your liver. It's gonna now be converted into the triglycerides and the bad cholesterol. This is what you don't want. Okay, so we don't want that. So if you want to lower your cholesterol, decrease the sugar. So if I decrease the sugar, I'm going to lower all my bad cholesterol. Okay, and if I'm raising my good cholesterol, that's okay, and that's only going to happen with some of the dietary fats. But you really just don't be concerned with this as long as you're eating good fats, like the ones I was talking about. Did I name all the ones I wanted to name? Avocados, nuts, seeds, some more butter. Some of the raw dairy products, butters. These are great. Yeah, and if you're gonna do a dairy product, make sure it's grass-fed, organic. So I'll do some like raw goat's milk, and I go to a farm. I go to N&P Farms out in Farmersville. Lynn is her name, she's wonderful. But if you wanna go out there, you can get raw goat's milk, raw cow's milk. I believe she's got raw butter, raw goat's cheeses. So all these things are raw. And what does raw mean? It means that it hasn't been heat pasteurized. So if it hasn't been heat pasteurized, now it's still got all the good bacteria. It's got good and bad bacteria, but to me, the benefits outweigh, the maybe potential harmful side effects of having some of that bacteria in there because it's got all the good enzymes that are gonna help your gut flora. So I would always vouch to try to have raw dairy products if you can get a hold of them, okay? The other option is going to be if you're going to have dairy from the store, it has to be organic. If it's not organic, you do not eat it. We do not eat organic or non-GMO, cheeses, cottage cheeses, these kind of things. Do not eat these things if they are not organic, okay? So make sure, bare minimum, they're organic. Like I said, the coconut products, the avocados, those are great. Here's the other thing. If I eat a French fry, okay, it's what's called a half-life. And that means that half of it digests immediately, and this is a trans fat, and the other half is gonna take 51 days to digest, okay? So that's a problem, okay? And this is where I wanna set you guys up, okay? Realize that if you're struggling with your weight, if you're struggling with your health, whatever it is, it took you a while to get there. This didn't just happen. You did not just become 25 pounds overweight. You definitely did not just become 50 pounds or 100 pounds overweight. Depending on where you are at in your health, realize you didn't just get there, okay? You're not gonna turn it around overnight. Nothing you do is gonna turn it around overnight, okay? The way you're gonna turn it around is a bunch of good steps, okay? Over and over and over again. Every single day, you gotta start making better steps. And look at it like this. So I got two buckets. Every choice I make, from getting adjusted to not getting adjusted, from exercising to not exercising, sleeping to not sleeping, eating fast food versus eating organic food, whatever. I'm putting in a health bucket or I'm putting in a sickness, a toxic bucket right here. Okay, so I don't want to fill up my sick, toxic bucket. I want to fill up my health bucket. Okay, that's going to come through a lot of good choices, a lot of small, repetitive, doing the same thing over and over again choices, okay? But at the end of the day, you're going to start to get that snowball rolling. You're going to start to lose a little bit of weight. And you're going to start to feel well. And your headaches are going to start to decrease. The inflammation in your body is going to start to decrease. okay? Your endocrine system is gonna work better. All these things are gonna be better, so it's worth it, because when I go back to that scenario of I ate a French fry, a sweet potato fry, whatever it was, it's gonna take me 51 days to digest the other half of that. So what I'm dealing with is something close to 3 months ago. I'm still trying to digest it, but yet I'm frustrated because I haven't lost any weight, haven't gained any muscle, nothing's really changed in me yet, but it's because it's gonna take you months to get rid of all the bad stuff, all the junk that you've been doing here, okay? So as you start to add in the good stuff, don't get frustrated. Just don't get frustrated. Just keep going, keep pushing at it. No, you're never gonna look back and say, oh my gosh, the last 6 months, I've eaten too much organic food, I've too many salads, like I just regret that. You're not gonna regret it, okay? And just don't get frustrated if the scales don't start changing fast enough. Really, the better indication is how are your clothes fitting? It doesn't really matter how the scales are churning, okay? Are your clothes looser? Are you having to go up on belt sizes? You know, those are the things that are really, really crucial, okay? So we're gonna lower the sugar. We're gonna bring up the fat slowly, especially if we're struggling with our weight. If we're not struggling with your weight and you're not having a lot of health, bring that fat up pretty quick, okay? The last thing here is that you gotta fix your protein sources, okay? You got to fix your protein sources. So what I mean by this is when you're gonna have protein, and so remember on that pie chart that I was telling you where 65% of your diet would wanna be fat? So you're at like 20 to 30% of your diet's gonna be protein. And then, you know, only like 5% of your diet you really want to be carbs and those kind of things. If you're highly active, if you're like an elite athlete or something like that, you can add in a little bit more carbs. But for most of us, you really wanna be careful on those carbs. And the carbs means the sugars, the breads, the pastas, those kind of things. And I would actually categorize those back up into the sugar. So the very first thing I said where you got to avoid sugar, that's going to include your rice, your carbs, your breads, your bagels, your pastas, all of those different things. Okay. All right. So when we got to the protein sources, you got grass-fed and you got corn-fed. Okay. So which one of those is better? It's grass-fed. Okay. You do not want to eat a heavy dose of corn-fed meats. That's not something that you want to be doing, okay? So, and the reason is because corn-fed meat means they've been eating genetically modified corn, genetically modified soy. You know, just go on Netflix, watch some of these documentaries on how they raise these cattle. It's horrendous. It is horrendous. I watched enough, this was about 4 years ago, I watched some YouTube videos, some Netflix videos, and I was just like, I called my wife, I was like, let's do vegetarian. Let's try this. And we tried it, and 4 years down the road here, we're still vegetarians. And once again, I'm not pushing saying everybody's got to be a vegetarian. That's just the choice that we make, and we've been happy with it. And the more and more I see how they're raising these cattle, and the less and less people that are actually able to raise them in these grass-fed pastures where they're getting sunlight and they're able to move around wild and eat the grasses and the different dirt and bugs and poop and whatever else they're eating, you would much rather have that. So if you're gonna eat meat, for one, you need to eat less meat, okay? You don't need to be eating meat 2 or 3 times a day because you're gonna create chronic systemic inflammation. Every time that you have meat, it's gonna take about 4 to 6 hours to digest in your gut. So you're gonna have gut inflammation for 4 to 6 hours. So follow me. If I had meat 3 times a day, what is that, 12, that's up to possibly 18 hours a day. I've got chronic gut inflammation. My body's expending a lot of energy trying to get rid of the meat, okay, and trying to break it all down and digest it, and I'm constipated, I'm bloated, all these other things, okay? That's not where you want your energy spent. I want my energy spent fighting off diseases, viruses, infections, like that's where you want the energy spent in your body. You don't want it spent all day long, every day, trying to break down all the meats that you're eating. So if you are eating meat, eat less meat, okay? Maybe, you know, I would love it if you would eat like 3 times a week, you know, have meat. Don't have it every day, have it every other day. Give your body some time to recoup, you know, eat mostly a plant-based diet. But when you have the meat, it's got to be grass-fed. It has to be organic. You know, if you know the farmer, if you know the farm you're going to get it from, much better option. Okay, I would love to see you doing it that way. If you're able to, you know, butcher your own cow and take the whole thing, That would be fantastic. If you're able to get, wild, when we were eating it, we would have like deer meat. So we had some land that we were able to go hunting on. They would kill, my brother-in-law and father-in-law would kill the deer for me. I'm not really gun savvy there, but so they would kill the deer for me. I'd bring it home. They would have it butchered and everything, and then we put it all in the freezer, and we would just eat that throughout the months to come. So that's something you can do. So that's wild, right? No farmers there feeding it, corn, and it's not getting hit with antibiotics and other things. 80% of all antibiotics given in the US, they're to livestock. So if you're one of those people that's saying, well, I avoid antibiotics at all expenses, I filter all my water, my shower water is filtered, I never take antibiotics, but the problem is you eat meat all the time, and guess what? That meat is loaded with antibiotics. And the reason it is because it's corn fed, it's soy fed, it's raised in these CAFO operations, these confined animal feeding operations, which are so inhumane, okay? And then the cows, they can't live off of this stuff. They can't live off of corn. Their guts would practically explode, and so they have to give them antibiotics and steroids to keep them alive. Okay, and that also makes them bigger, and once that makes them bigger, they sell for more money, they make more money. Okay, so it's a business, it's big food, that's what it is. Okay, so you don't have to stop eating meat, but eat clean meats. Please eat clean meats. And that's when you go to the grocery store today, tonight, next weekend, that is the very first thing that I want you to change is your meats. You have to change this first and foremost. So, and every time you're at a fast food restaurant, you're at even a traditional restaurant, if it doesn't say grass-fed, free-range chicken, it's not. I promise it's not, because it's more expensive to have that. And if they have that, they're going to be labeling it farm to table. They're going to, the waiters are going to talk about, oh, this is from this farm and this is grass-fed. We get it here. So if that's the situation, you want to do that. Okay, so you can have meat that way. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up here. Okay, first thing, low-hanging fruit. Okay, and that means don't eat fruit. It means get rid of all the stuff to get rid of. Stop eating the candies. Stop having any, sugar. Stop with the sodas. Stop with the fast food. Stop with the donuts on Saturdays. Whatever you do, stop that stuff that you already know is bad for you. You have to stop that, okay? The second thing, you're going to decrease your sugar, okay? You're going to increase your fats. For some of you guys, slower than others. Increase your fats. You're going to read the book. Okay, let's put that back in there. You're going to read one of your books that you have. Remember, you've got these two books. You're going to look for the advanced plan or the core plan. There's tons of recipes in here. This stuff you just read the whole book. Don't just read that one plan. Read the whole book, engulf yourself in this. Your life is going to radically change. I promise you. 7 or 8 years ago when I started eating like this, my life it radically changed. And because I'm not just eating to lose weight, I'm eating to be healthy. That's the thing. And so it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And this is going to stick for you. This is going to be amazing. You're going to have such amazing health results in here in this clinic. You're going to get better. Your life is going to be better than you ever thought it would be. And it's because you took responsibility for your health. You realize that you're your own best doctor. You're in control of your health. Nobody else is. Okay? And when you get yourself in that moment, you're in total control. And so you're going to fill up that bucket with good decisions over and over and over again. And you're going to stop filling this bucket up with toxic, decisions of doing the wrong things. Because this bucket right here, when you fill this thing up, it's scary. Because this all of a sudden represents cancer. This represents heart disease, diabetes. This represents sickness and disease, stuff that you never think is going to happen to you till it happens. I've had it happen, right? It happens. And so you have to take your health seriously. Please take your health seriously. The last thing is you got to clean up your proteins, okay? You're going to clean up your proteins. Any questions you guys have as you go through this book, as you listen to it, as you read it, listen to this video, listen to it over and over and over again. Get this in your hearts, man. Get this inside of you. And then ask me any questions that you need to. And I really am excited about the journey that you guys are about to take with this. So God bless you guys.